All right. Welcome, Millie. I'm glad that you could join me for another week here. I know it's been a little over a week since we last spoke. So, how have you been since then?
I'm pretty busy, pretty entertained, with a lot of work and school stuff. So yeah, it's been an interesting week and a little bit more. So
Okay, so everything kind of keeping you going here, keeping you on track and busy and out of trouble.
always out of trouble.
That's good. Um, so last time we spoke, I know that you were getting a few days off and you were going to try to go up and get a chance to see your mare and everything. Did all of that work out?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, I did have my few days off. Actually, I slept a lot, and a lot. I didn't get to see my mare because it was raining, like
Wow,
really, really, really bad. So I
that's
just,
unfortunate.
yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that with some of this imagery we had been working on, you might have gotten the sense that you had gotten a chance to see it.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
All right. Well, great. That's what I like to hear, and that's really a sign that hopefully the imagery is working, and hopefully with some more practice here, we can get you to a point where it's going to really create that sense of relaxation that we're looking for. And on those rainy days in the future, you can say, "Hey, I might not be able to go there, but let's go there in my mind." So
Yeah.
that'll be great. Okay. Well, um, so I know you said that this past week, since we last spoke, has kept you busy. Anything in particular that was maybe really stressful this week, or that you found yourself maybe lacking a bit of energy, or maybe you were lacking energy and needed to raise that, or you had too much at one point and needed to do some relaxing? Anything that came up along those lines?
I have to admit, even though it was very, very, very busy week, especially Tuesday. Tuesday was a very busy day, very busy. I think I managed well. Um,
Okay, great.
my Tuesday started at 6 a.m. I had two classes. My mother had some previous appointments that she had to go to, so she helps me with the animals, the dogs, on
Okay.
Tuesdays, and she wasn't able to do so. So I really didn't have much time to stop and think what I was doing. I was just going on automatic, and um, it was hectic. From 8:10 a.m. Yeah, something like that. From all the way up to 9:30 a.m. I was running like crazy and getting everything done, getting showered to go back to work until 4 p.m. and then have my client at 5 and another class at 7 p.m. So it was pretty busy.
Okay. What did you notice about how you had been performing during that day when you were kind of on autopilot? Did you notice any differences? Did it seem to all go pretty smoothly?
Surprisingly enough, it went smooth. I wasn't even thinking at all. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking through. Like I wasn't okay. How do I say this? I wasn't stopping and like asking myself, how am I going to do this? I was just going to it. Like I need to get this done as effectively and as fast as possible. So I was just
Okay.
like a
So
tsunami.
so kind of what I'm getting is more, since you were so busy, it didn't leave you that time to overthink things and maybe to think too much into things. Is that what
Yeah,
I'm getting? Okay.
definitely.
Okay, great. Um, that's definitely something good to notice. Um, when we start overthinking and we have a lot on our mind, sometimes our performance can suffer. And so it's great to have you notice that, hey, I was really busy today, but I didn't catch myself overthinking or thinking about too many things at once. And so it seemed to go smoothly. So that's definitely something to keep in mind for the future is maybe this overthinking sometimes, or thinking about too much about what we have coming up, or what we need to do in this scenario, and how am I going to then transfer to this scenario in a different setting. Maybe that's something that definitely could be something affecting your performance and making you feel a little more stressed. And so I definitely think that noticing that everything still kind of ran smoothly, even though you weren't thinking about things sometimes, is definitely something to keep in mind. And I think that using some of the breathing techniques and the imagery that we've gone over before, I think will definitely help in that area. I guess, how do I want to put this?
Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
My mom's not here.
That's all right. Gave me a second to think of how I wanted to say this. So when we kind of have our mind racing and we're thinking about what we need to do next, and we're not necessarily thinking about what's going on right now, we can definitely get ahead of ourselves sometimes, and stuff can start to pile up, and that stress can start to build and build and build. And as we feel more stressed, then we start thinking about more things. Our mind starts racing more, harder to focus, and then our performance just kind of steadily declines. So one of the things that we can use these tools that we've gone over before, one of the ways we can use them is to kind of say, hey, I might be thinking about too many things right now. Let me clear my mind. Let me take a second to stop, maybe take a second to breathe. If we have a little bit of extra time, maybe throw in some of that imagery of the horse, of that whole stable area and everything, maybe some brushing, something that's going to take your mind off of, I got to do this, and this, which is causing some stress, and just taking a second to relax. So I'm definitely glad that you brought up kind of this. The way I'm thinking of it is almost you were on autopilot the other day, just kind of going with the flow, and as things came up is when you had to deal with them. You didn't really have time to think ahead, correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah, that's recognition is the first step. So the fact that you can recognize this is great. Now what we want to do is take that recognition piece and turn it over to, okay, well, maybe I'm not having one of those days that's super busy, and I got a little more time to think of some things. And so take that recognition piece and now recognize when you start thinking about too many things. And I know it's a tough one, because what's too many things? If I am sitting in class and I start thinking, oh, I got to do this for class later, maybe that's pertinent. Maybe you do have to get some supplies or something for class. What we really want to try to key in on are the things that we start thinking about that aren't kind of in the moment things, that aren't things that need to be dealt with right away. And maybe say, hey, let me get a chance to clear my mind, to relax for a second, take some of that stress away. And I think that'll give a nice little pause like that will give you time to organize your thoughts and say, okay, why am I thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner later when I really should be thinking about this class that I have right now? Maybe I should be looking a little bit forward to the class I have next. And so that other thoughts that aren't really relevant at the time can kind of get in the way. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay.
Funny that you mentioned that, because today was actually my most smooth day, and actually I catched myself thinking, okay, this is the weekend, what I'm gonna do in the weekend, what do I have to do. And I just started. Actually, one of my closest friends says I'm an overthinker,
Mhm.
and I just stopped for a second. I was like, okay, let me stop, let me sit down, and enjoy my time off. I don't have to go to work till 3 p.m. So just chill. And that's exactly what I did. I wasn't thinking anything else. I fell asleep on the couch. So I enjoyed my 30-minute nap or so, and yeah, I went sort of refreshed to work. It was a slow day at work, so there was not much to do. So yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because today I catch myself doing that, like stopping myself. Don't think what you have to do, and think where you're at right now. So
That's beautiful, and I'm glad that you brought that fact up, because that was that recognition part that I was kind of saying we needed to transition to, but it already seems like you're there. So the fact that you can recognize, hey, I'm thinking about stuff that might be irrelevant right now, and you can kind of stop yourself is great. So now let's take that piece, and when we see this recognition, instead of maybe just saying, hey, let me stop thinking about this stuff or something like that, let's give yourself something to stop thinking about it. Let's use the circle breathing and just kind of let your mind clear, just focus on taking in those breaths, holding that, exhaling through the mouth, really concentrate on the breathing technique. And what that's going to do is it's going to take our focus and shift it from some of these irrelevant topics to something that we can focus on in the moment, our breathing, how we're intaking the air, how we're exhaling. And then kind of as we finish, say you do 2-3 breaths, as we finish those last breaths, kind of just let all that stress exhale with the breath, let all those irrelevant thoughts go with the breath, and use kind of the end of that cycle as saying, okay, now I need to start thinking about this, or okay, now my focus needs to shift to this. And what that's going to do is it's going to not only help to relax your body physically, instead of tensing up, like maybe you start thinking, like you said, hey, I gotta clean the house tomorrow, I gotta do this and this, and things that are going to kind of cause stress, and then can lead to body tension, can lead to inability to think clearly, can lead to a number of things. It's going to help our body relax, and it's going to be a cue to say, okay, I was thinking about this. Let's transition, think about something completely different. And so that's something very simple that you can do just with the circle breathing. And then if, like I said, if you have time, if you find yourself maybe it's tough to focus on just the breathing right then, or maybe you say, I'm having a real tough day, I need to kind of think of something else right now. If you have the time, use that imagery. Use the imagery of the horse, the imagery of just the area, that general area, whatever is going to work at the time to take your mind off of those irrelevant cues, those irrelevant tasks that we can worry about later. When we start seeing that some of these things are affecting us when they really shouldn't be, that's a great time. And you already have this recognition skill to say, hey, let's work on breathing, let's work on imagery. Any of those things are really going to help to clear the head and get you moving in the right direction.
definitely, I have another example too. Like this
Okay.
week was like revelation week for me.
That's what I like to hear.
I actually was surprised because, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have the time to actually like stop in my tracks. I was just going on autopilot. But yesterday, I had a small personal situation with my mother.
Okay.
And well, actually, when I got home, I saw like a bag with clothes outside, and I'm like, really, really, are you kicking me out? Anyway, um, typically, what I would do is like I would fire back. I would be defensive, or I would try to um, answer all the texts or fight back. And there's a like a phrase that my mom actually used to tell me that is literal translation is to fight you need two people. And I was like, I'm not gonna fight. And ironically enough, she was having two conversations at once with me, and she's like fighting over something, and then she's asking me for her keys to the office, and I'm like, I don't have the keys to your office. Why would I have the keys to your office?
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she wrote, oh, on the text, it was a text message. She wrote, yes, the ones I gave you to open Rio Mar, which is the house where I spend my weekend, and the link to my mayor and everything. And just reading the place, the location was like, okay, calm down. Let's get this through. Just it was an interesting experience to actually visualize almost immediately just by reading um, the phrase, the location, and just feeling relaxed and feeling like you know how to handle this situation in a better way. So let's go that way instead of doing it how you're used to and actually end up all stressed and emotionally effed up. So yeah.
Okay. That's wonderful. I'm glad you brought that. And so, how did that make you feel? Kind of seeing the situation turn out differently than usual.
I don't know. It was interesting. Really interesting because I didn't feel any pressure. Actually, I don't feel any pressure. And today my boss was like, "You look different," and I'm like, "Okay, why would I? How so? Like, why do you say you look happy?"
Okay.
Well, I am happy. I feel like everything is falling into place, and I feel useful, and I feel like I have a purpose, and I feel like I am getting somewhere in every aspect, in school, in with my clients, my work, physically, my own goals. Slowly but surely, I was pressuring myself to achieve things very fast, and these past few weeks, I've just literally stopped. You know, things take time. Good things and quality take time. So just go day by day. And apparently, it's starting to like flow or show in me. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. So, what I'm getting is really a sense that taking the time to relax sometimes, taking the time to clear your head and really take everything one step at a time has not only shown improvements, that you yourself have not only seen improvement, but now others are starting to notice that you seem to have, I guess, a little bit more relaxed, better vibe about you. Is that what I'm
Mhm.
getting?
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's great, and it's really great. I've always thought that you have wonderful recognition skills, and it's great that you can kind of notice that other people are noticing, as well as you can feel the difference, and see the change in your mindset as well. And I think that's a huge key, is really when you can see the change and when you can see the improvement, it makes everything we're doing just that much more clear. it makes understanding what this is going to be able to help you do is great for kind of being able to use these skills. Because sometimes someone might give you a skill or a tool or something like that, and when you don't see the improvement, when you don't see the effect of what's happening, it kind of gets discouraging. You say, hey, why am I using this skill? Why am I taking my time to work on this or something, when it's not improving, it's not helping me get to the point that I want to be, for the whole reason for using this technique. And so when you can see it in yourself, and I think it's great when you can see that recognition from other people as well. It's really a sign, hey, this is working. This is something that hopefully if we practice on, not only will it continue to work, hopefully it'll get better. You brought up a great point about seeing the name of the area where the horse is and being able to immediately think of, hey, I have this image in my head, immediately feel that sense of relaxation. That's wonderful. And even that's something that, even if that's going to work for you, we could even write a little post-it note or something like that that just says maybe the name of the horse, the name of the area, anything simple like that, and just stick it in a place where you're going to see it and where it's going to be meaningful to you. And maybe you have an area at the gym where you go by when you're transitioning. Maybe it's a hectic time or something where you can just walk by, see it, and say, hey, that reminds me of this, and then just instantly feel that that relaxation, that calming, that clearing of the mind. It's great that you brought that up, because we really want to keep these techniques and these tools simple. The simpler they are, the more we're going to use them, the easier they're going to be to use. And when we can use them better, when we can use them more efficiently, we start using them more effectively then. Mm-hmm. And like I said, as we kind of see that progress continue, it just reaffirms, hey, I should be using this more. I should be using this here. I could potentially use it here. And we can really kind of expand from just using it in worse to just numerous situations. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. I think that's really great. All righty. So some of the things I wanted to talk about today. Last week when we had kind of ended our session, we were talking about the rating scales that were at the bottom of the relaxation sheet. Did you get a chance to kind of do any of these ratings, or maybe just one? Maybe you got a chance to do a couple while we were away the past week?
Well, I actually remembered the homework late in the week.
Okay.
Just being honest.
Not a problem. I like the honesty.
And like yesterday, which was my biggest issue, because yesterday was when I had the feud with my mom. I think I could manage to rate the tension before and after. Okay. And it's weird because I wasn't tense. I wasn't stressed because I was actually training when all this happened. Okay. And, which is my me time, and I was ecstatic because I just had I did a new PR in the deadlift, and I was just
Oh, very
happy
nice.
and joyful and everything. And so I can't rate like I can't say that I was stressed or I had a lot of tension
Okay.
before. Maybe when everything started, yes, my initial reaction was to tense up, was to take a defensive stance rather than just actually trying to understand where my mom was coming from.
Okay.
As I mentioned, it was a very very busy week. Like in the beginning of the week, not
Okay.
yesterday nor today. Today was um, pretty relaxed, and
Okay.
yeah, maybe she was carrying all the tension opposed to me. I was like all happy, and what I could say that afterwards, that same positive vibe that I was carrying from the training that translated to a little bit of tension. I'd say about a 4
Okay.
when everything started, and when everything just when I was just like I stopped in my tracks. I didn't feel any tension. I just when I read Rio Mar, when I read the text, that I immediately it was like a snap back. I could say I was completely relaxed. I was like, okay, this is supposed to happen. Let her um how do you say this? Wind up? Like,
Unwind.
yeah, unwind. Let her get everything out of her system.
Okay.
Let her cool. Don't take it personal. And that's what I did.
Beautiful. That's great. That's really what kind of this imagery and this whole relaxation thing is aimed at, is not only reducing that stress and that tension that we can feel in these moments, but to kind of change our way of thinking. And like you said, when you get into some of these fights, everything seems to escalate very quickly. The stress levels escalate, tension escalates, and before you know it, like you said, you were having what seemed to be a stress-free day, and then the next thing you know, your tension and stress levels are uh, are up here, and the ability to change how we view those situations does wonders for our stress level and our ability to keep ourselves relaxed. So
Mhm.
the fact that even now, after just a week and a half of after being introduced to the topic of imagery and relaxing through imagery, it's wonderful to see kind of that automatic response almost, and something that could trigger that image in your mind and then say, hey, I know I'm getting stressed. I know I'm tensing up. Let's kind of reduce that. Let's not make the situation worse. That's the whole goal of relaxation. So that's that's great. I love uh, to hear that the tools that I'm trying to provide are really working, because I do my best to try to provide what I think is going to help, but everyone's different. Everyone uses techniques differently. Different techniques work better for some than others, and so it's really great to hear that this technique has kind of resonated with you so strongly. Um, so that's really great. Kind of going off of that, then one of the things, this kind of being our last session, one of the things that, well, a couple of things that I wanted to do. One thing that I wanted to do is just real quick, I want to go over, there's an imagery script that I have that I like to use occasionally, because I think it really does a good job of making you use multiple senses, and it's something that's simple and that I hope creates a really strong image, and it kind of helps you to gauge where your imagery ability is at, and kind of taking this, we can then see, okay, maybe we want to work a little more on incorporating this aspect or incorporating this aspect to hopefully get that imagery as strong as possible. And I want it to be something that I leave you with you feeling, hey, even though I'm still learning it and still practicing it, I get it. I get imagery. I get why it works for me. I get that I can control it. So I'd like to do that. And then the last thing, I don't know if you remember from our first session, but we did a performance profile. And what I would like to do is just kind of go over that real quickly. We don't have to go through it in detail, kind of like we did the first session. But really, I want to see where you feel you might have improved and some of the areas where, okay, hey, I might not have time with Matt anymore, but I know that I can still work on these areas and give you something to kind of take with you moving forward. So if that sounds good to you.
Yes, sounds good.
Perfect. So the first thing I'm going to start with then is this imagery script. And so I'm not going to put it up on the screen or anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you take a couple of circle breaths to start, kind of get us relaxed. If you're comfortable with it, I will have you close your eyes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through this script. And I really want you to try to create that image in your mind of what I'm going through. And then we'll come back and we'll take a look at what really worked, how you felt during it, and where we might want to go from here. So what I'm gonna have you do first is, again, if you're comfortable with it, go ahead and close your eyes and relax. Become as comfortable as possible. Take a few deep breaths in through your nose. Hold it. Out through your mouth. And hold it. And if you feel like it, take another one. In through the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. Hold. Now feel yourself relaxing. You're standing in your bathroom. You can feel the cold tile on your bare feet. You walk over to the shower and draw back the curtain. You can feel the plastic in your hands. You can hear the scrape of the shower rings against the shower bar. Now step into the shower. Feel the bathtub on your feet. You reach forward and turn on the water. You hear the hiss of the shower head as the water comes on. It feels cool against your skin, but begins to get warmer. You grab the soap and can feel it slipping in your hands. You can smell the fresh aroma all the time, still hearing the water fall on the floor of the bathtub. You begin to wash your body, feeling your hands slide along with the soap. You begin to wash off, again feeling the warm water. You reach forward and turn the water off, hearing the squeak as you turn the knob. You step out of the shower and grab your soft towel. You can feel the softness as you dry yourself off. You look back and see the steam on the bathroom mirror. You are relaxed. Now begin to open your eyes, take some deep breaths, and come back to the room.
I should stay in the shower.
So, how was that?
Really good, really good. I could actually feel myself. Well, obviously, the familiar setting would be my own bathroom, so I could actually see my bathroom and
Perfect.
smell the soap, which is really good.
Perfect. That's exactly what we're going for. We want to create that strong image, and that's why I like to use the bathroom and the showers, because everyone's familiar with that. And just like you said, I know I didn't say it, but my hope was that you would kind of picture your own bathroom, a setting that was familiar. Um, and that's great that you did that, that you could see your bathroom, that you could feel everything kind of as it was going on. And so that's really great. Um, so what do you think was the strongest part of the imagery for you?
Surprisingly enough, I would say smell.
The smell.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Um, what do you think was challenging for you to kind of imagine?
Mm,
And there doesn't have to be anything challenging.
actually, I could feel everything, but but what I would say was when going into the shower, like I don't usually I don't know if it's a thing of mine, but I shower really fast.
Okay.
So that part where I actually focus on the water falling didn't resonate that much.
Okay.
Everything else did. Listening the doorknobs twist while opening or closing the faucet. It was funny. I wanted to laugh, I have to admit, because mine like has a loud noise, and so yeah, all that came in through, and so
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. So knowing that, that's a great point to build off of. So we can kind of see how stuff that's familiar and stuff that sticks out was very easy for you to imagine. You could feel it, you could smell the soap, you could do all that. But stuff that was a little bit out of the ordinary, something that wasn't really strong to you, didn't have the same effect. So what that kind of leads us to is, now when we transition to using that relaxing imagery and that sort of thing, now let's start incorporating those things um, that we're used to. Let's start incorporating um, the feelings you're used to, the sights you're used to, and let's try to minimize those things that might be a little out of the ordinary, so that even though, hey, you've taken 1,000+ showers in your life, yet still this was something that wasn't very strong for you, so it was hard to imagine. So we can see that even things that we might do every day, if it's not something that we think of or not something that's the norm for us or something, it can be hard to create that sensation in our mind.
Mhm.
So that's a great point, to kind of focus our imagery later, is really stuff that resonates. Include stuff that you feel strongly about, because that's going to create a stronger image, and a stronger image is going to have a better effect on really creating that sense of relaxation.
Definitely.
So that was great. Um, so now we're gonna go back to the performance profile, and we're just, like I said, we're gonna just speak not a ton about this, but just kind of see where we might have shown some improvement, maybe some areas that still need a little bit of work. And so we will go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and screen share this performance profile with you again. And then I have, so let me find it real quick. Alrighty. I know it's here somewhere. Oh, where'd you go? Performance profile.
Uh-oh.
All right, let me see if I can find it here real quick. Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
So, okay. Let's see if this is going to work now. All right. Do we have it up there now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm actually going to change this down here. So I'm going to go ahead and type out what the what our headers were here. So we had emotional control that we had talked about and rated. We had discipline. We had communication. We had energy management. We had goal setting. We had focus. We had confidence. And we had imagery ability. All right, can you see all those on there now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Alrighty, so when we had spoke the first time, the first one we went over was emotional control, and you said that you didn't feel particularly strong about it. That when we had gone over the profile, that you'd recently been grumpy, which was unusual for you, and so looking back on that now, again using that 1 to 10 scale, how would you rate your ability for emotional control now?
I would say it would be a 6.
6, okay. Perfect. And so the first session we had, you rated that as a 3. So that's great that we're starting to see improvement already. That's wonderful. Alrighty. And so the second one was discipline. And you had explained that you had been disciplined during your weight loss, but that you had been maintaining it, but could have improved upon some of your personal discipline. So how do you, again, 1 to 10 scale, how would you say you feel about your ability undisciplined now?
I think it still needs a little bit of more work.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and go for a 7.
Okay. All right, that's great. So we showed a little bit of improvement. We had a 6 the first time, so a little bit of improvement. But that's great that you still notice that, hey, I might need to still work on this a little bit. So yeah, that's great. So we will go to the next one here, which was communication. And so you had said that you would like to improve your communication, more personal mainly, because you can kind of shut down at times, especially when you kind of had these feuds with your mom here. And so how do you think you do in this aspect now?
I think I'm doing a lot better.
A lot better. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and 7.5. Let's go for a 7 too. I like that number.
Okay. And that's great. Again, showing some improvement there. That was one of the things that I was thinking of, having you explain that you kind of were a little more relaxed in your communication with your mom, kind of gave her a chance to cool off, didn't escalate the situation. That's great, and great that we're seeing improvement there. So how about energy management?
I'd have to say I feel that it's about an 8.
Okay.
I felt really, really comfortable lately in how I am performing,
Okay.
to put a name to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's an 8.
Okay, that's great. So we when we did this the first time, you had rated it as a 3, and we're kind of concerned that you were giving full effort all the time. You were finding it hard to divide your energy, to divide your attention, to be able to relax, and that's great. I love seeing that kind of improvement, because that's one of the main things through these sessions that we were really working on, and to see you already showing improvement. That's great. Now we can kind of take these tools and techniques that we talked about and hopefully start using them to even greater effect. Ready? So we'll move on to the next one, which was goal setting. How do you feel you do on goal setting?
Goal setting. This is an interesting one because I feel that I was putting myself pressure. Saying, for example, I had to lose weight, or I had to lose 5 pounds in a week, just to set an example.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not channeling enough how it was supposed to be to my benefit.
Okay.
All the imagery and all the relaxation actually helps.
Okay.
So not pressuring myself and still have the same goals, as I said, day by day, I would have to rate this a 7.
Okay. So that's good still. We had it at a 5 before. So that's good to see that some of these imagery techniques and that sort of thing are even helping in some of these other areas as well. And so how about focus?
Focus, I would say an 8.
An 8? Perfect. And again, that's kind of what we were hoping for. Kind of as we're able to manage our energy, we had kind of hoped that would also help us be able to regain our focus, be able to focus on the appropriate things at the appropriate times. And that's great. And we already kind of see some of that panning out as you are able to kind of relax and be able to really direct your attention to what's in front of you at the time. So that's great. How about confidence?
Confidence, I would have to say it's a lot better too. I would have to go with an 8 as well.
Okay, wonderful. And yeah, that's great. Kind of as we see some of these successes and as we are successful using imagery, and then we start seeing our thought patterns change a little bit and start seeing that improvement, that really builds that really builds our confidence. And so that's great to see that improvement as well. And so the last one here was imagery ability. So how do you feel about your ability in that aspect?
I'm the master. No, I'm just kidding. I would have to say I would actually rate myself a 10. But I don't
Okay.
want to jinx myself because I know there's still things I need to work and like I'm s- yeah, to work on and to perfect, to actually be able to use it every day. It's my everyday life. So I would say a number 9.
A 9. Okay. Perfect. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this down now. And with this last minute that we have here, um, just wanted to kind of going over this as a whole. We showed improvement in every area, which is wonderful. Um, it's
Yay.
great that these tools and these techniques that you've been using for the past few weeks are kind of helping with different aspects in different ways, and so that's great to see that improvement. And now we can really see that, hey, we're still strong in imagery, so let's keep using that. It's been working to manage our energy. It's been working to keep us focused and confident um, and in control. And so that's great. Wonderful to see that improvement. And now let's hope that we can keep using this to kind of build upon that improvement. And
Definitely.
so, other than that, I think you've done a great job. You've done wonderfully well with everything that I've asked you to do. Um, like I said, we're showing great improvement even within these short few weeks. And I think you really have the skills and the tools now necessary to kind of work on some of these problems. And I really think that it's just going to keep getting better as we keep getting stronger with what we're doing here. So other than that, did you have any other questions for me before we kind of part ways here? Anything like that?
No, I'm just really happy that everything's falling into place.
Well, I'm glad. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. Anything that I can do to help you out, to make it easier for you, to make your performance better, that's what I'm here for. And it makes me feel really good knowing that you're seeing these improvements and that you're seeing the tools that I'm hoping will help you actually help. And I've had a really good 4 weeks. I'm glad that you could join me for all 4 of them, and I'm really proud. I think you did a really great job. Um, and like I said, I only see you getting better from here with some more practice and some more experience under your belt. So,
Hopefully.
um, with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful evening. And if anything comes up and you really do need to get a hold of me, don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you.
Alrighty, Millie. Well, again, have a great evening. I really enjoyed working with you.
You too.
Alrighty. Goodbye.
Bye.